But we begin with our big story. Andrew Lester, the 84-year-old Kansas City man who shot Ralp Yarl in the head, pleading not guilty at his arraignment today. The trial now set to begin in October of next year. Ralp Yarl's mother, Cleo Nagby, and his aunt, Faith Spoonmore, were both in court today, and they are joining us now. Ladies, it is an honor to have you here with us tonight, and I would love to hear from you, Cleo, first, just on your reaction to Lester's court appearance today.
I was not surprised, but it seems as if the justice system is more keen on protecting Lester than representing Ralp.
And Faith?
Yeah, that's basically what it came down to. I feel like nobody is taking into consideration that this is a boy who is currently a senior in high school, and he would like to move on with somewhat of a normal life, you know? But instead, when he goes to college, a few months into that, he's gonna have to come back and relive this. And we don't know how long the entire process is gonna take. We don't know how long that's gonna take him away from things that he should be doing as a freshman in college. But instead, he's gonna have to relive the most traumatic night of his life over and over again. And no one took that into consideration today.
Yeah, long-lasting effects for this very talented young man. This case, as you know, sparking a lot of discussions about race in America. Ralp himself, though, telling our Robin Roberts that justice is just the rule of the law, regardless of race, ethnicity, and age. He also talked, about what he wants for his future. But as his mother and his aunt, what does justice look like for you?
For me, I'll say justice looks like the persecutor in this case trying to represent a real person in this instance, and not just representing what's black and white in front of him in what he sees on paper. He should be representing a child that has a future, and a future without reliving every instance of what happened like 6 months ago. But all the persecutor is representing now is the black and white that he sees in front of him and whatever Mr. Lester lawyer pushes. And that's how I see it, is whatever Lester lawyers push it, that's what happens. Nothing that, affects Ralp and how he lives his lives moving forward is important in this instance.
And I think, Cleo, what you're saying there is so important when you talk about the fact that he has to relive this terrible moment in his life. Together, I'd like for all of us to listen to what Ralp told Robin Roberts about what happened that April evening when he was shot.
Then it happened, and then I'm on the ground. I fall on the glass, the shattered glass, and then before I know it, I'm running away, shouting, "Help me, help me."
So,
Cleo, you yourself
just said that. So, think about sending a child to college, right, in his freshman year, and then 6 weeks later, you pull him out of there and say, "Come and relive all of this." Is it bad that he wants to try it? Is that a problem? Should he be not thinking about going to college? Is that what they want him to do?
Those are incredibly hard questions for you to face, especially when we know he is such a talented and smart young man. And Faith, I know for you as well, this has been incredibly painful for your entire family. Tell me about the lasting impact.
As his aunt, when we first started this entire process, it was me asking Ralp, what would you like me to do? I have a platform, I have a community of people. What would you like me to do? And he said, Intifit, let people know about it. And I feel like it has been my promise to him since the night that I saw him in the hospital to see this through. And one of my fears is that Mr. Lester is gonna be dead before it even gets to court. And then there Ralp will be, didn't get the justice that he deserved, because the justice system felt sorry for an 84-year-old man instead of seeing a 16-year-old black boy. So I love my nephew. But this is a work that I am doing, and I definitely feel like it impacts my family because it takes time away from my family. Like right now, I should be making dinner for my kids, but I have to do this because this is my nephew. And this is not okay. There are so many other Black boys out there. There are so many other Black kids that deserve to see justice. It should not just be, this man is old. He should have known better. He knew well enough to call the police after shooting. You should have known better. That's what we need to think about, is that he should have known better, and he knows better. But because he valued the life of Ralp Yarl with little to no respect, he did what he did. And America needs to value Black boys' lives because it needs to be protected.
Cleo and Faith, I really appreciate your time in speaking with us tonight, and we certainly wish you a lot of luck as you are doing everything you can to protect the future of this young man. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Of course. I want to bring this big story to our panel now. So joining us today is ABC News contributor Mike Muse, former congressman for New York, John Katko, co-author of the Politico Playbook newsletter, Rachel Bade, and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer. I have to be honest with you, as our panel, my heart is racing a little bit after hearing from those two women. I imagine yours is as well. Mike, if we start with you, I'd like to get your thoughts here on the shooter, pleading not guilty. What do you think the defense's strategy is here? Because some say that, that plea is likely procedural.
Yeah, it is. I'm curious to see what the defense strategy is going to be, but I think it was something really interesting that Ralp Yarl's attorney, Lee Merritt, what he said is that we oftentimes don't see the scales of justice being equal when it comes to Black versus white. You always want to go in hopeful, but far too often we've seen patterns where it isn't the outcome that we're looking for, even though we believe that the evidence is on our side to protect Black bodies and Black individuals. So as Lee Merritt, his attorney, said, we don't know what their defense is going to be. But as the aunt, Faith, said that there is no justice when it comes to his age or any leniency that he may be given. And so this is a situation of shoot first, ask questions later.
And John, to you, the defendant said that he thought someone was trying to break into his house, but some question if this should be considered a hate crime given the racial undertones of the case. What's your take on that?
Well, first of all, the facts aren't in dispute. The 84-year-old defendant admits that he shot this young man. The young man admits he knocked at the wrong door, and when the door opened, he put his handle on the door to open it, thinking he's going to go inside and see his young brother. So facts aren't in dispute. The only question, and he's charged with a very serious crime. I checked the law. He's facing a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence and a maximum of 30 and a possible life sentence. So it's not like he's getting a slap on the wrist. But I think what's going on here, unfortunately, is that the defense lawyer is doing the only thing he can do. And that is he's going to put this guy on the stand at trial, this 84-year-old, and try and elicit sympathy from the jury that he was confused. And that's just not okay. It's not okay to shoot someone when they knock on your door, and the law is pretty clear about that.
And Rachel, to you, this story resonated across the country. Your reaction to hearing from Ralph's mother and his aunt?
Yeah, look, it's really heart-wrenching when I read, the headlines about this story. You see, a positive ending for a terrible story, and that a lot of these accounts of young, unarmed Black Americans who are shot, oftentimes they're killed. Ralph survived. He's going back to high school. He's looking at colleges. He had an internship, has a future in chemical engineering. So he has that, positive ending. But then you hear from his family and how he is still very much struggling from this. I mean, his family had to pick up and move. Couldn't even stay in the house that they had been living in because of the trauma and the memories of what had happened. And, when you think about the fact that they want justice, but this could drag out for years, and that means he is going to have to come back to this sort of tragedy in his life and this very difficult time when he has such a positive future. So, it's a really a bittersweet picture that we're seeing here.
Right, that was clearly a point of contention for this family. And if you don't mind, Brian, I'd like to ask you about that. Is there anything that they could do so that this young man wouldn't have to return, wouldn't have to leave college for this trial?
Unfortunately, I don't think that is a possibility here. I was actually shocked when I saw the trial date. I actually thought it was October of this year, but it's October of 2024. And for so many reasons that didn't make sense, both in terms of what's going on in his life. I mean, we all remember graduating high school. He's supposed to be thinking about prom, what suit he's going to wear, how to tie a tie. He's supposed to be thinking about who he's going to ask out to go to prom. But instead, he's probably going to have to be preparing for testifying in court about being shot twice and running for his life. I share the sympathies, or my sympathy is shared with the family, that why couldn't this have been done next spring or next summer at a time that was more convenient, but still enough time to get all the discovery to the defense and make sure that his rights to a trial are protected, but also the rights of the victim here.
Right, our young victim, Mike Muse, John Katko, Rachel Bade, and Brian Buckmeyer. Our thanks to all of you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.